it's like it's tough. Like you put yourself out there, and sometimes when you get these opportunities, it's like once you get these bigger opportunities, it's this high that people don't talk about. You know, like now you're like, oh, I need this. Now I need another big client, or I need another video that hits 1 million views, or like, so it's kind of like this. Nobody teaches you that shit. Like you don't like get. Do you want me to tell you this? Do we have time to tell you this story?
Go, let it rip, baby.
All right, listen to this. So, and I tell this story all the time, especially to like high schoolers, because
you know it gets real when he grabs the mic.
He
and
says,
moves it closer.
he goes,
buckle up, everybody.
He goes, Jordan, I don't care if your cat's 14. Listen up.
No, this is a crazy story. So, just about like perspective. There's this time in my life, and I talk at my South Glens Falls High School, and even like other Shenandoah and stuff. Like I talk to kids, and I just talk about perspective, and I talk about gratuity, and I talk about like controlling your ego and controlling like your mind. And so, so the People magazine had reached out to my publicist, and they wanted to do a story on me, and I thought it was going to be online. And my publicist was like, hey, I got a surprise for you. It's not just online. So I thought it was, so I'm like, again, South Glens Falls, little town, no middle of nowhere bullshit, right? Like people don't, Jimmer Fredette was the only person that I knew got out, right? Mm-hmm. And by getting out, I mean, breaking through the norm of your career, of being like the expert in the world, right? And so anyway, so I was like, oh, that's cool. So I was in New York working with Aaron, and I was working with Anthony Rizzo, and I was going between their penthouses in New York, and my publicist was like, hey, the People magazine dropped, you should go check it out. And I'm like, oh, sick, right? And I have my videographer with me, and we're going to these places, and I couldn't find the People magazine. Like I was going to all these like little stores. If you live in New York City, you know, like all those bodegas that have all like in the newspaper stores, and I couldn't find it. I was so pissed. So I remember, so think of this. I'm in New York City working with Aaron and Anthony Rizzo, which arguably are like the heavy hitters in the New York Yankees. Dream come true of mine. And now I'm upset because I couldn't find my People magazine insert, right? And I go to the Chobani. I'll never forget this. I stay in Soho when I go to New York City. And I go to the Chobani down there, and I'm checking out, and the girl's like, she's like, oh my God, I like watch all your videos. And I was so mad about the People magazine thing. I'm like, oh, thanks. Can I get like, I was such a dick. And I'll never forget that, because in perspective, if you would have like told me now, or even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 months ago, that was going to be on the table, I would be like, holy shit, I'm working with a Yankee, but I'm working with, so I tell this story to people all the time to just, people don't realize, like, once you get on this, and that train starts to pump, and you feel like you're like, then it's really, it's like, it's almost like an addiction of like, you almost put yourself on this pedestal of like, now I have to keep going more, because now everyone's counting on me or looking at me or whatever. You feel it's your ego, and you got to have like you have to have a really healthy relationship with your ego. As people, like, same thing for you. People are going to come in and say, man, you changed my life. You're the best ever. I've went to all these other people and you're the best. You got to check that at the door and be like, I'm just doing my job. Right. Mm-hmm. But I just remember that because it really put things into perspective for me. And that was like game changing in my career. Cause again, like, I have to practice gratuity because because as a hardworking young person, if you will, that's gone down the non-traditional route, right? Living in my buddy's backyard for a while, coming from a single mom home, not having a college degree and doing what I'm doing is hard, right? But being able to put things into perspective, just because things get really good, then you look forward to the next good thing over and over. Like I get totally spoiled sometimes. And I just always tell people, like, you have to practice gratuity, and also know that once you start achieving your goals and your dreams, you also have to be mindful about how to conceptualize and like really zoom out and go, okay, this is amazing. This is great. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so lucky for this. And I am like that. It's just, I remember I was